Dan, do you know who we are?
I do.
We are media fucker. Woo! Men online.
The first one is called See How They Run. Now, this movie came out last Friday. Let me get the exact date here.
Yeah, I was really confused by this because, like, obviously based on the name, it's obviously about like a story of a group of teenage marathoners trying to like earn the approval of the fathers. But no, it's not. It's a movie that aspires to be almost funny and almost a mystery. Its main aspiration is to be quirky, and I think it pulls it off pretty well.
If you don't like British humor, you can still enjoy it, but you're not going to enjoy it as much as I did.
Yeah.
So it's set in 1950s England, and an Agatha Christie play is taking place. And there's kind of a lot of fourth wall breaking down where there's an opening monologue by a guy. Do we say spoilers ahead? Spoilers ahead for See How They Run 2022. The opening monologue is by it's essentially the guy who's killed is talking about all these cliches and these dumb things that constantly happen in whodunits. A lot of that is sprinkled throughout the movie. We've talked about this on many episodes. One of your least favorite things is when the smart detective makes leaps that don't really make sense when you sit and think about it.
Yeah.
Or even briefly think about it. And they kind of do like poke fun at that, at least in the opening monologue.
You had gum. You must have gone to the store today.
Yeah.
You know, it expires like eggs.
So the voiceover guy is killed, and then a whodunit ensues. And you have the quirky kind of inspector who teams up with the quirky, what do they call it, constable. And the humor is very British, and I thought the girl was super charming and possibly my favorite part of the movie. She wasn't like trying to be funny seemingly, but her just kind of weird character had some funny moments, like, you know, all these puns, and she's spitting out puns and not trying to.
To me, the movie was kind of like I don't know, like a British Drunk and Dumber.
Drunk and Dumber? What's
yeah,
that?
well, her so she is the quirky constable. She is partnered up with the war veteran detective or inspector, but like he's just drinking the whole time. Like he shows up to work drunk like 3 times in the show. He goes to the dentist like 6 times and always comes back smelling like gin.
Yeah, he splits off from a stakeout so he can go to the bar.
Yeah, and then like the next day he's like, and then the next day he's just blasted and doesn't get to work till like 11 o'clock. He's just driving around extremely drunk. So, but like he's also like a good detective, whereas she just jumps to conclusions nonstop.
The entire movie, she jumps to conclusions constantly. She writes down in her notebook. By the way, she writes everything down in her notebook. She writes down, do not jump to conclusions, yet jumps to conclusions at every opportunity, including pointing the investigation at the inspector.
I thought that was pretty funny, even if it was deeply, it was very foreshadowed.
Oh, yeah. They hit all of the foreshadowing notes.
Like they literally have the one of the witnesses describing the person, and then like every frame it shows her looking at him. It's like, it could have been anyone, you know, because only 2 people have a hat and a coat in a world where everyone has a hat and coat.
Yeah, in winter in England. She's a single mother too. Her husband died in the war. This is 1950s. So how many years after World War II ended? It's been a little bit. Okay, so it's been 5 years since the war ended. She's a single mother. I assume since he was in the war, he's been gone for much longer.
But it's a little different for Britain because like I don't think they did as much island hopping in the Pacific as America did. Gotcha. So like for them, the real end for them was when Germany surrendered, and then they were planning on coming and joining in the Pacific before, you know, old President One Button decided to end the war. I'm kidding. He had 2 buttons.
That was History Man Online. No. She is a single mother too. He's a divorced father. She took the kid. And that kind of there's a funny moment where they arrest him. He doesn't know he's been arrested.
Yeah, because she hits him on the head with a shovel.
Yeah.
Just flatlines the dude.
Just because he's checking the pulse of a guy who just died. I forgot where I was going with that. I'm very tired. Anyways, the whole movie in my eyes is kind of a by the numbers whodunit, where you're going from person to person. Who was there? What did they see? It looks like it's going to be this person. It's not this person. Back and forth, that kind of thing. By the numbers in my book doesn't mean it's bad at all. It's just the pacing's predictable and kind of you just know what you're in for. But I liked it. This is Scary Movie, but for detective dramas, in that it's like every cliche they hit as hard as they can. Yes, and hit well, I think.
Yeah, so like the plot of the play happens in the movie while the play is going on in the movie, sort of.
Yeah.
But then it was someone else at the very end.
And Agatha Christie, the final scene is in a mansion, of course. It's in Agatha Christie's mansion. And she tries to poison, after the reveal of the villain, she tries to poison him, but she has a rotating serving tray and can't remember which one was the poison. You should have just put it in the center, Graham. What are you doing? There was, because it was kind of like a flower, she had tea trays along all the outside and then one in the center. Just put the poison one in the center. But she ends up killing her butler.
That would surprise me, because I was sure that she would took the left the poison in the middle to make him think she was trying to poison him and say, "Oh, you take that one then."
And she ends up killing the butler.
Yeah, the butler was pretty funny when everyone showed up at the mansion, and they're like, "Oh, do you have an invitation?" They're like, "Well, we have this one." He's like, he looks at it and says, "Hope you haven't traveled far."
Yeah.
And then I guess his boss comes up like, "No, everyone come in." He's like, "Ugh." Yeah, I don't know any specific points to hit on this. It was it was good. There's nothing that really made the whole movie. It felt very short to me. I would say it was maybe an hour and 15 minutes, hour and 20 minutes.
It was hour and 38, which speaks to the pacing, because it moves along. There's not really any dead points. So
yeah, it's amazing how so many movies seem to think, you know what, if it's not insanely boring, it's not character development.
The runtime was, in my opinion, perfect. It didn't overstay its welcome. Sam Rockwell, who was the inspector, was solid, but she was the star to me. She was
very much.
I really liked her. It was a predictable path, but I didn't see the killer being the killer. Maybe if we had more of these kinds of movies, it would be easier to pick out, oh, they're clearly flipping you one way or the other. But I think the last whodunit movie I saw was the Murder on the Orient Express. Did you see that one?
I think we covered it, didn't we?
No, we were going to and never got to it. 5.8 thousand ratings, including mine, on IMDb for a 6.8 out of 10. Where do you sit?
Like a 8 out of 10?
Perfect. I'm right there with you. I gave it a very specific 7.8. I do decimals these days. Yeah, go see it. I mean, it's a lot of fun. And as of today, which is Saturday, September 24th, this episode will come out this coming Wednesday, the 28th. It has 8.7 million at the box office. I hope more people see it. Check out, see how they run.
Thank you for listening to Media Men Online.